everyone. My name is Varnika Gupta, and this presentation today is a part of I Am the Future series. In this series, we are speaking with various business leaders at Infosys, and today I have with me Arti Gusain, AVP Infosys Leadership Institute. Welcome to this presentation, Arti, and thank you so much for being a part of the series.
Happy to be
I
here.
am so looking forward to our chat. So, let's begin by knowing you a bit more, Arti. How would you describe yourself?
Well, if I pick a few words, I think I'm very curious, very authentic as well. And one word that I often use to describe myself is what I call as a champion. So, a champion for people who I work with, champion for my team, champion for Infosys, champion for the leaders who I work with day to day.
Sure. And who are the cheerleaders of this champion then? Who have been
Oh,
the
actually, my
cheerleaders?
number one. My number one is my team. I mean, I think so. It is one of the best teams that I've always ever worked for. And also some of the leaders that I have built relationships over the years, Varnika, here in Infosys. I can't forget my own family, right? They are cheerleaders too.
Sure, yeah, there are quite a few cheerleaders, and I am very eager to know more about these cheerleaders then, Arti. So, let's begin by family then. What kind of family were you? Did you grow up in? What kind of conversations were happening around you? And you said earlier that you're curious. What was fueling this curiosity?
So, family wise, parents were very strict, right? And very early in our life, all the brothers and sisters were told to go ahead and figure out life for yourself. But with that also came this thought of you got to study and you got to do something on your own, and please don't come looking to us for support. So the more I believe they got stricter, the more I wanted to actually have fun and break the boundaries and be a rebel. I believe, but I think what at the during the conversations with the family, right? One of the things that often used to be discussed was politics and history and economics and so a lot of debate. That's what used to happen at the dinner table. But of course, because parents were the authority figure at that point in time, and of course, right, what they would say, I believe, was actually true. Later on, to learn, I have figured my own way, and some of the things that I sincerely don't believe in, right? What I used to believe in earlier. But I think my perspective comes from my mom, and the hard work and courage comes from my dad, right? So, and then of course, I was a single girl growing up in a big family which only had boys. So I played cricket, I played football, I was running in the lanes around our neighborhood. And you give me a cricket bat today, I genuinely believe I can still stand straight for the three overs and at least still hit some boundaries, right? So that's where it was from a childhood standpoint. And back in the day, I was quite a tomboy, so I never would fit in with the boys or with the girls, right? So, one friend of mine who used to really understand me, and I unfortunately lost her to cancer. She was very young. And when I reflect, the only one regret that I have in my life is that I should have stayed in touch with her. And that episode, one of the things that I have always invested in is stay in touch, be with people, understand what they're going through, and be there, right, whenever they need me. And that is also somehow that I have built myself, even in terms of my career, in terms of my conversations with people as well. And hence that nurturing relationships, um, helping people through, being aware, sometimes just be a sponge, just listen if you can't do anything else, right? But the most precious thing I have is to give my time, and that's the precious currency that I have. And sometimes these relationships need that.
You were talking about how this friend of yours, she understood that this whole conflict that you were going through of being a misfit. How do you think all those experiences that led you to think that you were a misfit has helped in you getting a more personalized understanding of diversity and inclusion, and how has that evolved for you over the years?
So first thing, I used to, of course, be angry earlier about why don't people just get me, right? And later on, what I realized was, see, everybody is unique. I may not be everyone's cup of tea. I could be unique. I could be a square peg in a round hole, but that's what's unique about me. And then similarly, other people are unique in their ways too, as well. So accepting people for who they are, right? How they are becomes really important for me. That is one thing. Secondly, I've also figured that their diversity comes in even in terms of the way we do our work, our whys, hows, and whats are very different. And sometimes when you bring these multiple whys and multiple whats and multiple hows together, what you're able to craft as a solution or an offering, right, in our work, even becomes more stronger, right? For example, while my strength is engagement, right, a colleague of mine, her strength is execution. You know, our leadership strength is about thinking things strategically. So imagine when the confluence of all of this happens together, right? And that's the reason why we were able to craft something out, which is I am the future program. And that's like one big testament, right, of all these diverse thoughts and skills and competencies coming together as well. And there was this time when I had recently come into Infosys, and I have a particular way of working. There is a bit of perfection in me that I drive with, and but I was also wanting to know if this is working for the team. And there is one really amazing person on our team, and she gave me this feedback: Rati, you're so perfect, and you think of every angle, that I'm afraid of making a mistake. If I make a mistake, I think that, I will lose your trust. And I like, oh, that's brilliant. Right? Thank you very much. So I asked her, so dial it down a little bit. And she said, yes. And I said, fair enough. And of course, it's a mess muscle that I had to flex myself, Varnika. But the power of that was when I stopped telling people what to do and how to do, and telling them every angle. What I could figure was that they can find solutions themselves. They just do not always have to be told. And sometimes I become that coach outside the football court that never has to enter the football field, because that's the best moment for the coach, right? That you never ever have to step into the football field to talk to a player. So that has been one. Second thing, in my work, a lot of people have their own individual context as they are going through their own leadership journeys. And I think that what becomes important is to understand the individual context, right? Connect it to their business context, and then connect all of this to the org context, right? And if you notice, all these three things for multiple people will be very different, right? Okay, but the success is to be able to stitch it together in such a way that people actually go ahead and continue their journeys or progress in their own careers in a way that they see it as successful. I think my early career, I grew really without any mentors. So, I did what I wanted to do. I figured it out. My favorite word used to be go figure, right? We'll figure it out. And by the way, that mindset allowed me to grow really fast, Varnika. But there came a point in time where I had to pause because of certain reasons, which were more personal. And a person who's as fast as me, and suddenly you have to stop and pause, throws you out of the realm. But I'm glad that I chose to pause, right? And first, the way to handle it was to tell my own manager, who I genuinely believe is the sculptor of my current leadership, all right? Talk honestly to my team and my peers as well, to say, where I really am. Um, Choosing between pausing and stopping, I chose pause, because I believed if you pause a little, then you can run a bit faster. To slow down my speed was one of the biggest challenges. But also use that time to making a very conscious choice to become a learner, right? And because I don't have to do everything on my own, but I also have an ecosystem. I have an ecosystem if I ask for it. And my biggest learning was, if I ask for that ecosystem is there, right? And sometimes I did not even have to ask for it. I just had to tell them what was going on. And it's just naturally, it went ahead. And here I am talking to you, in my healthy spirits right now. And, it's a great place to be.
Were there any people when you were growing up, probably your mother or your father, who influenced you, or who mentored you in a way that today you have this immense clarity of, being this professional, this independent woman?
Because my parents told me that you have to figure out life of your own. And if I was not doing this, I would have been a journalist, honestly speaking, Varnika. But they just weren't ready to give me money for a prospectus. So then I was, of course, rebellious, and I said, "Oh, you're not gonna give me money, so I'm actually go ahead and make my own money." So I think it was the age of 19 I started to work. So in the mornings, I used to get up, go for my economics tuition, take a bus in Delhi. Then from there, I used to go do my work, used to come back. I used to study at home, do the weekend classes for college. And what has honestly made me very independent is that aspect of financial independence, Varnika. I've been investing since I was 19 years old, right? With portfolios in terms of there's a decent amount of debt portfolio, equity portfolio, investment in property, and I have a very diversified portfolio. Um, I bought a house when I was 27. And I do my own bills, and just make sure that I am on track of my investments, so I exactly know when my investments are maturing, and whatever I want to do, right, whatever I want to achieve, I can do it on my own. And that's something I genuinely believe. I'm very, very, very thankful for my parents, because if they would not have told me that you go figure things out on your own, right, I wouldn't have been here the way I am. And very very early I understood that there's this difference between conflict and competition in the world. All right, and for me now, my framing is that there is conflict, and if there is conflict, that gives you the ability to communicate and engage with people, and you just have to identify what's causing the conflict. And because of that aspect, I also believe that independence of reaching out, picking the phone, calling someone up and say, hey, how can I help? And I know we are stuck. How do we move forward? I believe is where these early childhood, early mentoring in my career has actually helped me, right? And just to be the person actually that I am.
Arti, like you're saying that you got that early mentoring in your career, those opportunities that helped you become who you are today. But not everyone has those opportunities, or not everyone is that aware or that empowered. How do you think and especially for someone like you who's now in a leadership position, is handling teams, has is an empowered individual and professional herself? How do people like you? How can you help? Someone else who has not had similar experiences and probably is struggling?
I was lucky that I got a mentor. If I ever have to go back in time, give myself, one advice, I would say go ask for one art. You don't wait for people to give you a mentor, right? But I think with mentoring, what really drives me is this whole concept of giving back. And so I do mentor a few people. They are within the organization, they're outside the organization too. I also use this term which is called as personal board of directors, right? If I'm a company, I may also have personal board of directors, right? Okay. And those people could be my current managers, my current leaders, people who managed me back in the day. They could be my peers too, and they could be my mentors as well. And I think so, like a healthy company has a healthy board, right? So mentor could be a very important aspect of that personal board of director that one should definitely have. This journey has been amazing, actually. It brings in this excitement of a new place. It brings in the excitement of, although I've invested 5 years of my time here, but I still feel like the new kid on the block, right? So there's always this mode of learning, curiosity, in terms of understanding people's business. It's very important in my work to understand the business that leaders are actually in. So and then build relationships, and one of the things that I love is the passion, the legacy in the system, and also the drive and the ambition of the organization, right, to do more, to be more, right? And I think so that kind of resonates and connects really well with my own value system and energy system as well. I think that's what just it just made the choice very easy.
So, Arti, when you were talking about your journey at Infosys now, you stressed upon the fact that connecting with people has been so important for you throughout this journey. So, help us understand how this journey took place for you internally as well, because you spoke about being this rebellious kid, being someone who felt that she was not included and she felt excluded. How has this journey been like? What has been the milestones, some challenges, achievements, learning from this rebellious kid to someone who now gives so much value to human connections?
Thank you for asking that question, Varnika. It's a brilliant one. See, one thing that I understood very early was, if people don't understand me, why do I leave it to people for them to understand me? Why do I not make an effort to help them understand me? Right? So picking up the phone and just calling just became a second nature. And often my most beautiful relationships, Varnika, since last decade, has actually been where people were critical of me, and because of the conversation between us, that relation changed to something like, that we are friends and we are thought leadership partners. And even today, right, I may not be living in the same city, but if I arrive at the city and I say I am here, right, those people come in, right. And I think it's just sometimes my own reach out did the mix. In some cases, people took interest in me, right, to understand me more, and they try to take off that outer layer to actually really understand who I was. And I'm very thankful to those people because they really invested their time. I mean, and time is precious, as I said, it's a currency, to actually understand, to know me better. And in this journey, um, becoming a learner was became so important, right, when I spoke to you about pausing and reflecting, choosing to be a learner, because I genuinely believe there was a point in time I used to think I know it all, right, I've done it all, right. And with these conversations and people really understood me, my own vulnerability also brought out what are some of the things I still need to learn, what are some of the things I still need to do. And I think it's just that connection from both sides and openness from both sides. Me, my willingness to open up to people, people's willingness to open up and accept me, and being curious about me. I think so that's where the shift is.
Ati, if someone, say, an aspiring professional, irrespective of the gender, is looking at this interview right now, what would you want their key takeaways to be from your journey, and what can they learn from your journey that will probably help them grow into this wholesome human being?
I think I would want people to reflect. Reflective observations are very important, Varnika. And also at the same point in time, stay authentic. I mean, they would be people who are better than us. Learn from them. And the last thing is, see, I'm at Infosys. I am an organizational leader first, right? My team comes the next. So if, say, foundation is Infosys and home is Infosys Leadership Institute, and if I take care of the foundation and take care of the home, I will persevere no matter what.
Thank you so much, Arti, for sharing your journey with us, sharing all those lovely experiences and stories. I'm sure everyone who's listening this interview today, they've thoroughly enjoyed. And everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. And we will have more such sessions lined up. So keep watching this space and keep reading your story. Thank you.